Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. Sir Andrew Tate.
If you don't like what I do, but you watch everything I'm doing, you're still a fan.
No evidence against me.
Is this the end of your career, Andrew?
So the sentencing for these charges could be anything from 12 to 15 years. It just depends on the accumulation of charges and so on and so forth.
Imagine shooting a man with your last bullet, and he stands there, unfazed.
Making my life, thinking it's right. Switching and missing the point to the right. Washing the thoughts in the back of my mind. Telling them I know for fact that they mine. Watch me, I'm slow.
Is this the end of your career, Andrew?
Absolutely not. This case file is empty.
I know a lot of what he does is theater, right? A lot of what he does is very like satire. He plays the role of this boastful who smokes cigars and drives Lamborghinis, and that's his thing.
Wait. Ask the police what evidence they have against me. It's nothing.
According to the judicial document, there's not enough evidence to prosecute or convict. So right now, the entire basis of the evidence is just a remand while they look for more information.
They're holding me because of media pressure. You are okay? They're persecuting me because I'm rich and successful.
So in a recent podcast, Andrew Tate's manager, Satoru Shooter, reviewed the CCTV footage from the house of the victims who claimed Andrew Tate raped them. Take a look.
It's highlighting the corruption in Romania and the West in a way as well.
You know why I'm so mad? Because literally, right, if you go to their house, look at the camera footage, it's all there. The footage is all there. Why can't you just look at the footage?
I've reviewed that system.
They won't even touch it.
Yeah, they won't, because they know he's innocent.
Yep.
That's why, which is crazy to me.
To your point, mate, I've sat and reviewed informally. I mean, I've worked with security systems for mega facilities. I'm familiar with what constitutes a professional level CCTV system. Yeah. Whoever installed that was a pro. It's high def, it's got long data retention, and there's no black spots. There's full coverage inside and out of everything that happens. Yet for some reason, and I know the authorities have access to that, for some reason it's not being included. So there are so many holes here.
Wow, that's crazy, bro.
You've got a scenario where the legal documents were not given to Tate's team until 45 minutes before the hearing. And even then they looked at them and then took them back. And then one day before the next hearing, they were finally given 17,000 pages of documents, impossible to review within a day.
The controversial social media influencer Andrew Tate has been arrested in Romania on suspicion of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group.
They're being detained for something they've not done without evidence.
Is it a relationship now? Bro, I talk to him every day. And what do you think about him being cancelled? I think he'll win anyway. Being attacked is a sign of greatness. I feel like if you get attacked, that means you're doing something so big that people feel they want to stop you.
It was interesting. He flew me over. It was good. It was fun.
Last night we went to Tate's house. Phenomenal experience. Super hospitable, humble guy. Honestly, I was very impressed. Very down to earth. He was a great host. Like, he was asking us, hey, are you guys enjoying the night? So yeah, I honestly had a great experience.
He was really polite in person. I didn't expect him to be, like you said, so smiley, very warm.
Met in Romania, in Bucharest, through a mutual friend, and we all went out for dinner together. We had a really nice intellectual conversation. He wasn't rude to me, he wasn't inappropriate with me.
I liked him a lot. He's smiley, he's friendly, he's got high energy.
He's a gentleman.
You know, it sucks to see some of your best friends get just completely slandered.
I was in Romania hanging out with the Tate brothers. I spent a significant amount of time with them. And what I want to say is these guys are the furthest thing from criminals. They're the furthest thing from human traffickers.
A genuine bond and friendship with him, and people really don't understand that this all happening actually affects me, because it's that's my friend.
Moms out there, if you have a son, I bet you have no idea what is happening out there, so you might want to pull up a chair and listen. Our first guest, 24-year-old Ben, says when he was a teen, he had zero self-esteem, never got past the first date, and felt powerless with girls. But he says men like Andrew Tate inspired him to break out of his shell.
Men with their mindsets
getting in touch with their masculinity, figuring out their goals and what sorts of action steps they can take to make those goals real.
Just imagine getting into a fight with this guy and he headbutts you.
The United States lawyer that they hired went to the prison to see them, and they refused to let us see them. Just think about that. So first of all, why are they not being allowed access to their legal team? The second thing is this: what are they afraid that she's going to see? And so when a predetermined decisions have been made, it looks like they're going to take them down and convict them no matter what the evidence is. It looks like they're going to take them down and convict them no matter what the evidence is.
The Tate brothers, and it's easy to have an opinion on what they're going through because of some of the statements they've made that people do not like. But put this in the context of, if this was your son or your brother who was jailed, your focus would not be on, you know, all of the things they may have said during their lifetime. You would be concerned with, does the prosecution have evidence of a crime? And if not, you would want your brother or your son to be home. So we're going to find out in the next several days. The existing detention order expires on February 27th. And if the prosecution intends to extend that for another 30-day period, they'll have to make that request soon, and then we'll have a hearing on it. Obviously, our hope is that at this point they are released and that it's not extended. But am I optimistic about that? No. And I think an additional factor that weighs in is the tremendous amount of assets that have been seized. So almost $4 million worth of assets were seized from their residence. And unfortunately, that gives the authorities incentive to search and find evidence of some wrongdoing to be able to forfeit and keep assets of that nature. I think the seizure, let's keep in mind, when the police raided their properties and searched them and seized all these items, they didn't find evidence of crime. You know, they've taken these items in the event that they are able to later on show that they're...
Well, they say they're ongoing. They say the investigation is ongoing, and the assets, some of the assets they've taken are part of that investigation.
Of course, but this isn't a situation where police seized things that are illegal on their face. They didn't, seize contraband, drugs. A lot of times when there are these raids, things are taken which are evidence of crime. In this case, there was no evidence of crime that was seized. These are assets that they're holding on to in the event that they can later prove that these are proceeds of ill-gotten gains. And again, at this point, there are not charges filed against them. And the fact that they have $4 million in assets, it gives them further incentive to detain them and continue to search for some crime so that they could try to forfeit, those sizable assets. Difficult because I'm not supposed to comment directly on anything that's happening in the proceedings. As of now, they're closed proceedings.
But without detail, you're satisfied you have enough evidence to counter that?
I do. I don't think there's been any evidence that they're a danger to the community in terms of committing crimes. Again, I think at this point, they haven't been charged with crimes. And these are two individuals that have absolutely no criminal history. So I think that's a far leap to say that, they have potential ability to influence people. Again, we're trying to punish them for their ideas and for their thoughts and their freedom of expression, which is what we're not supposed to criminalize. And I think it's a very dangerous place to be headed.
We've been hearing today from fathers in particular, for some reason today, that their young sons are interested and he is appealing to them for one reason or another. When he isn't talking about women, he often alludes to soy boys, meaning weak boys, and talks about depression not being a real thing, and has alluded to the fact that if he ended up in jail, he'd be depressed because of his circumstances. Is he depressed in jail? How is he coping in jail?
I wouldn't say he's depressed. I think it's very challenging. Obviously, the circumstances, we're approaching 60 days of them unexpectedly being put in custody, and in a case where the evidence is not strong enough that they haven't even been charged as of now. So it's a very challenging situation that they're in, but they're mentally and physically strong. And They are staying motivated. They have a strong faith. And so they're getting through it the best they can.
And he has converted, or perhaps both of them converted to Islam, have they?
That's my understanding, yes.
Inshallah. You do not need to be an Andrew Tate fan. You don't even need to like Andrew Tate. You can even hate him. But you can see that there is injustice and there is corruption. Because in order for me to say that Andrew Tate is guilty, you need to show me the factual evidence. And for months, there has been no evidence.
You think bruises are ours. I was born